Are there steps an employer entering into a staffing contract, such as the one in CNN America, can take to avoid being deemed a joint employer? What are the steps that an employer can take?
Sure, thank you. And thanks also to Martine for all the information she provided. So as I said before, when you're setting up a contract like that, you're going to bring in temporary staffing. Just putting language into your agreement with the staffing agency that you are not an employer of their people is not going to be enough. Now, I'm not suggesting that you don't put it in. By all means do. Just don't think that that's going to be sufficient. What you need to do is establish both in the documentation of the agreement and really more importantly in the facts on the ground is that you, as the company contracting with this temp agency, you are not running their employees' day-to-day operations. You don't want to be supervising them. You don't want to be handling, as Martine said, their payroll or their benefits. You don't want to be imposing your conduct standards. You don't want to be in a position where you can dictate the hiring, the firing, the promotion, the demotion, the discipline of these people. Now, I recognize that a lot of times this creates conflicting interests and conflicting imperatives. You know, you have the security guard staffing, for example, on your premises, and they are patrolling your grounds, and they are interacting with your employees. You want to have a certain degree of control over them. Understandable, but at the same time, recognize that the more control you exercise, the more likely it is you will be found to be a joint employer if the issue ever comes up. So the steps are, document the relationship as carefully as you can, and at every level that you feasibly can, make sure that you are not factually acting like an employer.
Thank you for that, Michael. And Martine, anything to add to that, or we can give you another question?
No, I agree with everything Michael said, and I would just add, as I mentioned before, the only sort of problem for the primary entity in this arrangement then is to the extent they have people on site and they aren't requiring them to abide by their various conduct and anti-discrimination policies, that gives rise to a whole different set of risks, which could be a whole separate presentation for Michael and I.